So how do you feel about Richard?
Well, playing Richard III, when I first read it, I really liked him, and I kind of still like him even after the play. But I just like how he's so complex, and he's not the perfect bad guy nor the perfect good guy, because I think that can get really boring, and he's anything but boring. But also, it's kind of hard for me because I'm not used to getting into kind of this deep, dark part of myself that I am messing with women and I'm like this mean guy and also a murderer. So I don't know, but I like playing him. I like being the bad guy. So how do you feel about playing Elizabeth?
I really love Elizabeth's character. She's so sassy and is right there, always having the last word against Richard, which no woman ever has. Like, even his own mother couldn't have the last word with him. And Elizabeth just comes in and she is so spunky and she just curses him multiple times, and she's the one who ultimately puts the fear of God in his heart.
And what about Anne?
I don't like Anne as much as I like Elizabeth. At the beginning, you really think, oh, she's so great. She's like, here she goes, like, attacking Richard, and I really don't like Richard's character. Like Kelsey, I like how he's complex, but I can't get over his murders and all the bad things that he's done. And Anne ends up falling for him, which I can't really condone.
So both of them have similar beginnings because that's how they're, attacking Richard. Because Anne's totally against it at first.
She calls him a devil on multiple
occasions. The second part is when Anne switches and Elizabeth doesn't. So comparing these two and contrasting the vibes.
Yes.
Getting into character with these two women was a little bit difficult for me because they're both so different than what I'm used to. And for me, sometimes it's really easy to get into a character that's completely different from myself. But especially with Anne, it was hard to get into that mindset of possibly liking Richard. With Elizabeth, it was easier because all she did was shout at him and make fun of him, which I feel with any character is easier to get into than the change of heart. And Anne has had a very difficult time. She just lost her husband and her father-in-law, both killed by Richard. And then he comes in and he's saying all the right things. Maybe not at first, but at the end he's changed her view on him. And then Elizabeth, who's hated Richard since the beginning, is listening to her brother-in-law talking about wanting to marry her daughter, which is, even for royal families, disgusting. So I can see where she's coming from in that sense.
Which woman do you like better?
Elizabeth.
Just because she doesn't give in to Richard?
Yeah, because I hate Richard.
I wanted to play Richard because even from the beginning, with his monologue, that kind of scary monologue, I wanted to delve into kind of the duplicity of his character, so how he is truly evil, but he knows that he's evil, and if kind of how he uses that to his advantage. And I was thinking about Richard and Anne, when Anne, kind of falls in love with Richard and gives into his plot, how Richard comes in and says, kind of takes advantage of her vulnerability, and I think that's what Richard is really good at. So I wanted to figure out if I could portray that kind of, evil boyfriend material.
Avaunt, thou dreadful minister of hell, thou hadst but power over his mortal body, his soul thou canst not have, therefore be gone.
Sweet saint for charity, be not so cursed.
Foul devil, for God's sake hence, and trouble us not. For thou hast made the happy earth thy hell, filled it with cursing cries and exclaims. If thou delight to view thy heinous deeds, behold this pattern of thy butcheries. O gentlemen, see, dead Henry's wounds open their congealed mouths and bleed afresh. Blush, blush, thou lump of foul deformity, for 'tis thy presence that exhales this blood. From cold and empty veins, where no blood dwells, thy deed inhuman and unnatural provokes this deluge most unnatural. O God, which this blood madest, revenge his death. O earth, which this blood drinkst, revenge his death. Either heaven with lightning strike the murderer dead, or earth gape open wide and eat him quick, as thou dost swallow up this good king's blood, which his hell-governed arm hath butchered.
You know no rules of charity, which renders good for bad, blessings for curses.
Villain, thou know'st no law of God nor man, no beast so fierce, but knows some touch of pity.
But I know none, therefore I am no beast.
Oh, wonderful, when devils tell the truth.
More wonderful when angels are so angry. Vouchsafe divine perfection of a woman, of these supposed evils to give me leave by circumstance, but to acquit myself.
Vouchsafe diffused infection of a man, for these known evils, but to give me leave by circumstance to curse that cursed self.
Fairer than tongue can name thee, let me have some patient leisure to excuse myself.
Fouler than heart can think thee, thou canst make no excuse current, but to hang thyself.
By such despair I should accuse myself.
And by despairing should thou stand excused, for doing worthy vengeance on thyself, which did unworthy slaughter upon others.
Stay, madam, I must speak a word with you.
I have no more sons of royal blood for thee to murder. My daughters, Richard, they shall be praying nuns, not weeping queens, and therefore level not to hid their lives.
You have a daughter called Elizabeth, virtuous and fair, royal and gracious.
And must she die for this? Oh, let her live, and I'll corrupt her manners, stain her beauty, slander myself as false to Edward's bed, throw over her the veil of infamy. So she may live unscarred of bleeding slaughter, I will confess she was not Edward's daughter.
Wrong not her birth, she is of royal blood.
To save her life, I'll say she is not so.
Madam, so I thrive in my enterprise, and dangerous success of bloody wars, as I intend more good to you and yours than ever you and yours were by me wronged.
What good is covered with the face of heaven that can be discovered, that can do me good?
The advancement of your children, gentle lady.
Up to some scaffold there to lose their heads?
No, to the dignity and height of honor, the high imperial type of this earth's glory.
Flatter my sorrows with report of it. Tell me what state, what dignity, what honor canst thou demise to any child of mine?
Even all I have, yea, and myself and all, will I withal endow a child of thine, so in the leaf of thy angry soul, thou drown the sad remembrance of those wrongs which thou supposest I have done to thee.
Say then, how dost thou mean shall be her king?
Even he that makes her queen, who should be else?
What, thou? Thou wast provoked by thy bloody mind, which never dreamt on aught but butcheries. Didst thou not kill this king?
I grant ye.
Dost grant me, hedgehog? Then God grant me too, thou mayst be damned for that wicked deed. Oh, he was gentle, mild, and virtuous.
The fitter for the king of heaven that hath him.
He is in heaven where thou shalt never come.
Let him thank me that halt to send him thither, for he was fitter for that place than earth.
And thou unfit for any place but hell.
Yes, one place else, if you will hear me name it.
Some dungeon.
Your bedchamber.
Would they were basilisks to strike thee dead.
Thy beauty hath and made them blind with weeping. I never sued to friend nor enemy. My tongue could never learn sweet smoothing word. But now thy beauty is my proposed fee. My proud heart sues and prompts my tongue to speak. Teach not thy lips such scorn, for they were made for kissing, lady, not for such contempt. If thy revengeful heart cannot forgive, lo, here I lend thee the sharp-pointed sword, which if thou please to hide in this true bosom, and let thy soul forth that adoreth thee, I lay it naked to thy deadly stroke, and humbly beg the death upon my knees. Nay, do not pause, for I did kill King Henry, but 'twas thy beauty that provoked me. Nay, now dispatch, 'twas I that stabbed young Edward, and 'twas thy heavenly face that set me on. Take up thy sword again, or take up me.
Arise, dissembler, though I wish thy death, I will not be the executioner.
Then bid me kill myself, and I will do it.
I have already.
Tush, thou is in thy rage, and speak again, and even with the word, that hand which for thy love did kill thy love, shall for thy love give a far truer love. To both their deaths thou shalt be an accessory.
I would I knew thy heart.
Look, what is done cannot be now amended, and when this aim of mine hath chastised the pretty rebel, dull-brained Buckingham, bound with triumphant garlands will
thy daughter to a conqueror's bed, to whom I will retail my conquest won, and she shall be sole victress, Caesar's Caesar. Your reasons are too shallow and too quick.
Oh no, my reasons are too deep and dead, poor infants in their grave.
Harp not on that string, madam, that is past.
Harp on it still shall I till heartstrings break.
Now by my George, my garter, my crown,
Profane, dishonored, and the third usurped.
I swear
By nothing, for this is no oath. The George profaned hath lost his holy honor, the garter blemished pawned his knightly virtue, the crown usurped, disgraced by kingly glory. If something thou wilt swear to be believed, swear then by something that thou hast not wronged.
now by the world,
'Tis full of thy foul wrongs.
my father's death,
Thy life hath it dishonored.
then by myself.
Thyself misusest.
Why then, by God,
God's wrong is most of all. If thou hast feared to break an oath by him, the unity the king thy brother made had not been broken, nor my brother slain. If thou had feared to break an oath by him, the imperial medal circling thy brow hath graced the tender temples of my child, and both the princes had been breathing here, which now, two tender playfellows to dust, thy broken faith hath made a prey for worms. What canst thou swear by now?